In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your hip mobility routines actually work by looking at the three biggest gaps that most routines miss. Now, most people are either doing, some stretching, smashing stuff with a foam roller, mobility, movement, or whatever, with the goal to improve recovery or to avoid injury or even improve performance. But they're just not doing the main thing they need, which is getting strong at the ends and moving things through three planes of motion. So you've probably done an exercise like this before, 90-90 type exercise, and just coming into a stretch is fine, just moving in and out of it's fine, having some controls fine, but we really want to ensure that we're targeting the muscle at end range, because one, that's usually where people get hurt, and that's also where we're limited by our capacity, which is why we pull up sore after exercise or a strength routine or whatever it is you're doing. So if we look to come into this position, we're not worried about how it looks. Most people can come to there, or I can come to there, but it doesn't mean I feel the stretch. We want to look at how can we move our body into a position where we're going to load the muscle and load the tendons. And if I tilt my pelvis here and come forward here, I've already got a super strong load here. I've just got this hand here for balance. And then once I've got the position, I'm going to look to take the hands off, push my knee into the ground and start to get some load into this muscle. Now, there's a few ways you can get load. In the Stretch Yourself Strong system, we look at loading through different phases as well as bringing movement and different speed into our stretches as well, because they all come with different adaptations. But in terms of load, we probably want to just start with body weight. So you could start just by pushing the knee into the ground. You could lift your hands, you could hold a weight. But the next thing we'll want to do is also move this through some other planes of movement. So if I'm coming forward here and I've got my chest tilted up, I'm also now I can move across and I can get some rotation here. So I could come down, might hold here for 5 to 10 seconds. I might look to twist, hold for 5 to 10 seconds. And then another strategy would be to start to gain some control and moving through those ranges, making sure that we can do it with some tension and making sure that we're getting that muscle to fire. Because it's one thing to come here and it looks good, it looks great on Instagram or whatever, but if it doesn't have function, it just doesn't serve a purpose. And what Stretch Yourself Strong is about is how can we draw a line between the training that we're doing and our injury prevention and our performance. It's just like having something that looks good and just isn't practical or doesn't work, and a little bit like some people that you and I both might know. Okay, let's now have a look at the hip flexors. Now, the internets are full of people showing all these crazy strategies around improving your hip flexor range of motion, etc. But the main thing we need to make sure that we're doing is we're getting strong through our range of motion, we're targeting our full range, we're targeting 3 dimensions, but more importantly, when it comes to a muscle like our quads, hip flexors, we're targeting the right part of the muscle. So, for a simple lunge even, and we can start just here to understand how we're going to target the tendon, because really we want to make sure we're transferring load into the tendons, because that's often where we're injured, our end range movements. And we want to make sure we're strong here, we have strength all the way through our muscle, all the way to where it attaches to the bone. So if I come into the lunge and I start to tuck my pelvis under, you'll start to notice load coming to the top of the hip. If you're not ready for this, you could just start with a lunge. But I've seen this transform many an athlete's movement. It's top of mind because I've just had a sprinter do very well with this in terms of increasing performance. So we're going to tuck the pelvis under, we're going to come down to the bottom position, and we're just going to hover here. So I'm pushing into my foot and making sure my hip still tucks under, and I'm just going to look to hold here. You might start with 5 seconds, even building it up to maybe 30 seconds, and you'll certainly feel that. Now we can bring some other movements into these positions as well. So we could also bring movement and motion into it. That would be more a phase 2 strategy in Stretch Yourself Strong. But we could start to rotate with this as well, and you'll start to feel some different loads coming through here. I could shift the hip over towards you as I rotate, and you'll start to load that muscle through 3 planes. Strength through range and strength through 3 planes of movement is really what we're after in all of these hip mobility exercises. Let's have a quick look at the adductors. I left this one to last because, to be honest, I just didn't really want to do it because I am a bit sore in this area today. Now, I've got here this little contraption on wheels. You don't necessarily need this. It could be a slider, towel on the floor or whatever. But again, we're not just looking to stretch our adductors, we're going to find a way to load it. So if I start to bring this across and start to get a bit of a stretch in my adductors, I'm then going to look to push the foot into the ground and feel this load up here. So you'd probably want to be a little bit warm before doing something like this. You could start to commit the weight over to the foot. I conveniently have a spot to stop this, otherwise this will just go flying because I just probably don't have the strength in this today to hold this here at a long length. And that's another thing, it's gonna change day to day, right, your capacity. But what we're looking to do here is come through, push your foot into the ground. You might even start to rotate the torso away from here a little bit. And we're just gonna look to hold here. Now, if you're looking to get better at things like Cossack squats, etc., this is a great place to start. So another phase 2 strategy we would use would be coming into different points of the movement, pushing down, holding 5-10 seconds, coming out further, pushing down, holding, coming out further, and probably doing that in around 20-degree increments, because contractions only have a small range of movement that they work over. So initially we'll start at our end range, but then we want to bring these kind of push down and hold movements across that full spectrum of the movement. So I hope that's helped you. As I said, the goal of Stretch Yourself Strong is to make sure your mobility, stretching training transfers to something else. Otherwise, you're just doing it to tick a box, and there are so many better ways you could be doing things. Have any questions about this, please ask. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.